type of experiences are they showing you? What are they doing besides holding up money, got the babes, got the jet, okay, they're showing you the lifestyle.
Hey, what's going down? I want to stop things really quick and let you know I've been thinking about you. So at the beginning of the year, I always get calls from different coaches and business owners that want to really maximize their online brand and turn their followers into paying clients, but they just don't understand how. So I went back and I studied the industry, and I noticed a lot of different coaches are offering different online programs that ultimately are leaving business owners stuck after the program because the business owner still doesn't truly understand what they need to do in order to build their online brand presence. So what I did was I created a 10-week learning plan. Now this 10-week learning plan is specific for your business where we work together one-on-one and I'll walk you through how you're able to turn your content into leads and sales, bringing your customers down a full journey. Now this learning plan is going to walk you through everything you need to know. So it's no more jumping from YouTube video to YouTube video trying to figure all this stuff out yourself. Now if you want to learn more about this learning plan, go ahead and click the link below and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, what's going down? Welcome to another episode of the Connection Sub podcast, where we connect you to everything business related. Now, I'm super excited for this episode. I'm actually going to be sitting here with my mentor, business and personal, Mr. Ed Hoffman. So I don't want to steal his shine, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take it over. Ed, let us know who you are and what it is that you do.
Hi, I'm Ed Hoffman, and now I'm a business and personal coach. I have an interesting story. I always like to tell people stories. I basically hitchhiked. I had gotten a little trouble in New York, and I hitchhiked through Canada for about a year and a half, and I wound up in Texas. I had $34 in my backpack, and I was addicted to anything. And then somehow I got sober, got into recovery, built a multi-million-dollar corporation, had 45 people working for me, and sold it to an acquisition firm that the parent company is worth several $billion. So I am the American dream. I am the rag to riches. And what makes me special as a business coach is that I've owned businesses. I have found a lot of business coaches come from two different backgrounds. One, they're CEOs that work for Nabisco or Hertz, and they want to become business coaches. They sold out or they got their retirement. Now they're going to be a business coach. And they're really smart. I'm not saying they're not smart, but the difference between me and them, they never had skin in the game. And if you've owned a company, I don't care if you've had it for 1 year or 50 years, there's going to be times where you're going to have to pawn your Rolex or drive a smaller car or can't afford stuff. I mean, I don't know, like this business, but there was a time in the 80s that I couldn't pay myself for 6 months. And, I had we were eating bologna and eggs practically, me and my wife. I mean, It was powerful. I will say this, when I got that first paycheck, I cried. I even cry today thinking about, wow, I made it, man. I fought through this battle. I kept my doors open, and here I am, I made it through. And a lot of people that never experienced that can't really coach, my opinion, because they're very, you all need new furniture here and you need this. Wait, all that'll cost money. Oh, well, that's just fine. You go, wait, when you own your own business, it's your money. It's my money. Anything that we want to improve around here, I want to see a return on my money. I just don't want wallpaper. I want money that there's a reason to do everything. And then you have these other coaches, which God bless both of these guys, both these people. One is the corporate guy, and the other is someone that had a job, selling stereos at Best Buy, and he decided to want to get out of it, or they want to get out of it, and they take a community college course, and they become business coaches. And here's a funny story. So I'm at this business meeting, and someone invited me. So I'm sitting there listening to this guy, and this guy had an amazing PowerPoint. And I'm sitting there, I've been business coaching for like 6 months ago. Oh man, this guy's a lot smarter than me. I mean, he had it all working,
the bells and whistles, right?
Yeah, the clicker and all this stuff. And I go, man, he is smart.
Yeah.
So at the end of the thing, I go, what kind of business did you have? And he said, I had a moving company. I go, okay, because moving companies can make jack. I don't know if anybody paid for a moving company, but those guys, well, how many trucks you had? He goes, oh, me and my brother had a pickup truck for the summer. It's like, what? Here I am expecting this guy, and it's like, what are you going to teach me? You can't teach me anything. Everything you learned in books.
Right.
You don't have any boots on the ground experience. And then the other day, I got notified, or LinkedIn, or whatever the ethical right way to put it, got connected to a girl, and she says, I'm a business coach for business coaches. I said, okay. You know, and one thing I've learned is I always let people talk to me. I return every message.
Yeah.
Every message, because I don't know that one message, and I want the same respect that if I message you and ask you, hey, can I help you, this and that, I'd like a response.
Right.
Not a long dialogue, but it's conversation. So I always talk to everybody. And sometimes I learn something, and sometimes I teach something, or sometimes it just, you know, a 30-second thing. But I believe in giving everybody the respect that if they're hustling, they're trying, I listen to them.
No, definitely.
So I said, how many millionaires have you made? What do you mean? I said, well, if you're going to coach me, I want to know, because, you know, and I'm very successful. I'm not going to say how much money I made, but I'm successful. And I want to know if you're going to teach me to be a business coach, hey, I might as well become a millionaire. I mean, you know, that's basically, and what I've learned, the first million is the hardest to make. Just like the first $100 to make, the first $1,000 to make, the more times you make money, the easier it is to keep making it.
And why do you think that is? Like just
I think it's psychological. It's like, you know, I love sports. So it always comes down to the team that has the most experience. Why does Tom Brady always win these Super Bowls?
Good question.
Because he always wins these Super Bowls. Because when he goes to a Super Bowl, he's not worried about losing a Super Bowl because he's been to so many of them that his mind is not under the pressure. He's expected to win. His mental capacity is, I'm going to make that pass. And that's why they also always throw passes at the end of the game to the same guys. Because this guy is not going to drop the ball compared to someone else that's a rookie and doesn't have experience. He's been catching the ball all game, but when he knows it's the ball to catch,
all of a sudden he's freezes up. What
deer
happened?
in the headlights. Deer in the headlights. And she said, no. I said, well, okay. What have you done in the way of business? She says, well, you know, I was a receptionist and I took this class online. And I go, well, you know, I don't really think you're qualified to coach me, but, you know, very nice meeting you. I mean, I wasn't too sarcastic, but I was little
sly.
Well, you know, I mean, so I kind of fall into a very unique category that I'm a business coach that's self-made. I didn't have a rich daddy. I mean, I had like, I'm stuttering thinking about if my father ever gave me money. You know, I left home at a very young age, and everything I made is with these two hands and my heart and my brain and my back.
No, and you talk about that a lot. So let's break this down a little bit. We know Ed now, successful, businessman, all of these things, but bring us through that journey. And I know you talk about it with me a lot, just coming up and being in the construction. I think even you've told a story about living in one of the houses you're working on before. So really take us through that journey of how you made it from to this Edward now, but from that man then.
Well, okay. I'll tell you a little bit about how tough it was for me at the beginning, and then I'll accelerate it quickly. So I had different jobs at first. I mean, one of my first jobs in Houston was, because I needed a place to stay, was I worked a dog kennel in Pasadena. And I just cleaned up dogs. And let me tell you, guys in prison had bigger cells than my place. They had a little thing in the back that had a twin bed, a little hot stove, you know, and a little electric coffee pot, and that was my world. You know, I lived there for about 3-4 months. I think I was making $50 or $70 a week. You know, I built up a little cash, and then I kind of found some sort of construction job in Montrose. And the first job was they were renovating this apartment complex. So I figured out I could like make believe I leave, and then I'd have my backpack, because I was like a turtle. My whole world was in a bag,
Yeah.
you know. And it was a good bag. I mean, I had a sleeping bag and, tent and raincoat and
Right.
pots and pans. I had stuff. I had everything to survive out in the woods or in the city.
And then just a bag?
Yeah, backpack, yeah.
Backpack.
Just a backpack.
Pack light.
My backpack when I came to Houston was about under 40 pounds. And that included a tent, that included a sleeping bag, that including a backup pair of, like, you'd have different kinds of shoes. Like I had like a light hiding boot, and then I had slip-on, like a slip-on sneaker.
Yeah.
So it was more comfortable, if your sneakers got wet. So I had, little pots and pans and stuff. I mean,
You have the whole works.
I had the whole works, but I had only, 2 long sleeve shirts, 2 short sleeve shirts, 2 pair of jeans, one pair of shorts. I mean, it was reduced.
Right.
But it's all I needed.
Right.
And if you really think about how much junk we have in our closets and how much junk we use, we don't use all the junk we have. So what I did was I made believe I'd leave, and then I'd sleep in the apartments. And the apartments were pretty cool, except a lot of times they had fleas and cockroaches. So before I laid my sleeping bag down, I used to have to spray Raid around my sleeping bag so that the fleas and roaches wouldn't climb on me. There's a special feel when a roach crawls across your face, man. And I mean, that's how low I was, But for some reason, I had this little burning light inside of me. And from there, I had this job that I worked, and then I started another job, and then I had a little pickup truck, and my job was to knock down this cinder block wall. So I had a shovel, a sledgehammer, and a wheelbarrow. And every day, I'd be the first one there because I lived there. No one knew I was living there. The boss was always impressed because I was always standing outside waiting for him, But, it was fine, And as the apartments got nicer, they ripped out all the carpet and put in new appliances and new toilets. It was pretty cool. I was living pretty good. And so I did that for a couple of, 6 weeks, just every morning. Knock down the wall, smoke a joint, knock down the wall, And when the job was done, the head carpenter came up to me. His name was Abraham. I don't remember his last name. And he said, Ed, what are you going to do after this? What am I going to do? I had no idea what I was going to do. I was grinding day by day, and he said, I'd like you to be my assistant. I want you to be my carpenter's helper.
Nice.
And I said, why me? Because I had friends that were carpenters and carpenter help. They had skill saws and hammers, and they had the tool belt with the tape measure. I mean, these guys, I had a wheelbarrow that wasn't even mine. I had a sledgehammer. It was all borrowed.
Right.
He said, Ed, I watched your work ethic, and you had the best work ethic of anybody I've ever seen.
And how important is work ethic to operate a business and be in business?
Everything. It's everything. It's everything. There's nothing more important. I mean, I'm getting to. There's nothing more important than work ethic, man. People admire work ethic, and I'll give you an example. Dennis Rodman. A lot of people remember Dennis Rodman. Yeah. What was so great about his hustle? Yeah. They could be up by 20, down by 20, 5 seconds left in the game, and he's flying into the stands to get a ball and go, the game's over. He goes, man, that's the way I play. Right. And people love work ethic. And if you are a hard worker, you will be noticed. I believe that if you had a wheelbarrow and you're behind a parade, behind the elephants with that shovel, and you're smiling, because one thing about work, I grew up, work put food on your table. Right. I don't care what you're doing, dog kennels, picking up elephant poop, whatever it is, delivering groceries, it's putting food on your table. So don't be too cocky. But I always imagine there's someone in the crowd watching me, and they're going to go, look at that kid. He's happy picking up elephant poop. I know I could do something with him. Yeah. No. Compared to that kid that you see working like man, this is what I got to do.
Right.
I don't like that. You know, you've seen that
Right.
shuffle, that walk, like they're doing you a favor. Like,
Right.
hey, man, you get out of here. If you work for me, you better have passion and enthusiasm because this is putting food on your table. And if you've got that much food and you don't need this job, there's someone else that wants it. And that's the way I run my ship, and that's the way I run my life. I run that every single job, every single client, every single person is putting food on my table.
Right.
And if you've never been hungry, you don't know what that's like. But if you've been hungry, you know about food.
Definitely. And just going back to that, so you got to be the carpenter's help. So we moving on up.
Right.
Moving
So
on
then
up.
I found this guy that taught me how to repair furniture with this kit. It's like specialty or something. And you give your toolbox and you split the ticket. So you go work for a moving company that chips up the table and you reproduce the wood grain and everything. Somehow I had a gift. I just had a gift to match colors. I can look at a color back then, go out of the room and match the color and come back without even having the colors and be like 90%.
Wow.
God gave me this gift of color.
That was your skill. You
It
found
was a
your-
gift.
It was a gift. You're your gift. You found your gift.
Matching color is a gift because you have to see the color. There's, you know, you have to, do I need a drop of green? I need a drop of red. So I started doing that, but then I already had a truck and I was living in an apartment. It was out on Imperial Valley Drive and Greens Road. Yeah. And I was living there, and I was friends with the manager's son. We used to party together, and I only had it was like $200 short of my rent, and I've been hiding from her. And then one day she caught me out by the pool. It was like the 17th of the month, you know.
Hey, you're way late.
Yeah,
way late.
Yeah, well, she was nice. She knew me, you know. I used to have lunch at her house,
Right.
you know. We were all kids back then, you know. She looked at me like a second son.
Right.
So she got me. And she said, what do you do? And I told her, she said, well, let me show you what I got. And she showed me some burnt kitchen countertops that used to be butcher block. And she said, can you fix that? I said, I could try. So I reproduced it. And she said, oh my God, because it was like furniture, you know, it was plastic. And she gave me 2 more. And I did it, and she said, that's great. And then she said, how much you want to charge me? I said, I don't know. She said, don't worry about the rent. Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
This is worth something.
I'm back in the game. So then she called her friend. And her friend gave me work. And then from there, you know, I tried different people. I went through a learning curve.
So what is this, like just resurfacing furniture? Like what
It
is
was
that?
resurfacing furniture, but I started doing it in kitchens and apartment complexes, which was an untouched market.
Right.
And I created this process. I invented it. Not on purpose or anything.
Right.
But, you know, that was showing her rent. I invented it. But she said, hey, maybe you could do this. You know, it was just like talk. I mean, that's how a lot of inventions are created.
Right.
You know, someone's got a problem and they use another application to solve the problem.
Right.
I started doing that, and then I hired people and worked out of an apartment. I worked out of the back of an apartment. Then I worked out of the back of a house. I got a little warehouse. Then this. Then I wound up having a retail location on Fondren and Richmond. I was doing all the trade shows. I started, and of course, then I got sober. I started finding mentors, men in recovery, but also then I started hiring mentors and coaches. And I started building my business more and more. And all of a sudden, you know, I've got 45 people working for me, and I'm living a complete exit strategy lifestyle where, you know, I have businesses in Costa Rica and Colombia. I have a ranch. I've been to over 30 countries, and I was having a very successful business.
Wow.
For some reason, I got the idea of what exit strategy was.
What do you mean by exit strategy? Expand on
Exit
that.
strategy is basically, it starts, well, for instance, you have someone that's a one-man company,
Right.
one-man band,
Right.
okay? And then he hires, like, okay, here's an example. I'm coaching a guy that has a window dressing company, okay? And he does his own invoicing, does everything in Florida. So I was thinking, you're spending a lot of time driving and this and that. So we now hired him a driver. We found a busboy that was bilingual, and he is driving this guy's truck around. At the same time, instead of this guy's driving, he's now doing invoicing.
So they're both in the
emailing.
car together. So
Right.
it's kind of like a chauffeur type of deal.
Right.
Huh.
Right. And when there's a lot of odds and ends to get, like, hey, we need to run to Home Depot, he goes inside and gets it, and my client's busy working.
And that was something you figured out from what, just talks, conversation?
It made sense. That's the way my brain works. I have massive ADD and dyslexia. So there's parts of my brain that are extremely creative and problem solving. If you go to my website, innovatingwithed.com, everybody that does the testimony will say that you can ask 10 people a question, all 10 will be very close to the same, and mine will be completely different. I have a very abstract, creative mind. And that's what makes most successful businessmen, is we look at a box completely differently. So I immediately said, he was now too busy, but the other thing, as I talk about, and I just did something on LinkedIn where you look for the basics. Everybody was like, oh, I'd love to hire a guy that knows about window coverings and this and that, and it's like, great, try to find someone. You don't have that much work, you can't afford them. Why don't we just find someone that's bilingual and I wouldn't use the word, I would almost use the word athletic. In other words, someone that can move around, not a very heavy set person. It could be a woman, but just someone that.
Like mobile. They can
mobile, right. Mobile, maybe has some light skills of some kind, using a drill, maybe built a doghouse with his dad. Just some kind of concept. And I realized, and all of a sudden he's making $2,000 a week more.
Wow.
So he's paying this guy $500, and he's sticking $1,500 in his pocket. Simply. So now exit strategy at that level is you're delegating.
Right.
And the higher level is you start delegating more and more. Then you start hiring salesmen. Then you start hiring more installers. Then you have supervisors. And you just keep doing that. And then you start, having more and more systems in place. Right. I believe in what they call task management, not people management. I look at McDonald's. McDonald's does not make the best burger in the world, but you can go anywhere in the world and you can get any pimple-faced kid, to make the exact same fries, in LA or New York. Then you could teach them to do this in a day. Right. You hit the button, you put the fries in. When the buzzer goes out, you take the fries out. 8 minutes later, the light turns red, or however it is. That means they're cold. You dump them.
Right.
Simple. So that's what we found. We found someone very simple that also, didn't have a bad driver's license or something like that, and all of a sudden he's making $1,500 a week more, which is another, like $70,000 a year for doing less.
And still capitalizing. No, that's good. So for going back to this exit strategy lifestyle in business, when do I need to start thinking about that? Is that something the first year, after 5, 10
I believe
years?
You should be, it took me a little while, but I just realized that the problem with most business owners is that they are not willing to let something be done better than they can do it.
Expand on that. What do you mean? No.
So let's say I was the best resurfacer in my whole company.
Yeah.
But so I won't, this guy can't do it. He can't do it as good as me. He can't do it. If you can find people doing it as 80% as good as you, that's great. It's like the burger. We're not trying to make the best burger. We've got 80% burger here.
Exactly.
And if you can maintain a consistent quality, that's what's important. But people are afraid of letting other people do it and the other part is they don't let other people have the learning curve to do it. Oh, you're doing it wrong, let me do it. Yeah. Get out of the way, let me do it. That's a million bosses are like that. Very few bosses will go, you know what, go ahead and do it. Okay, let me show you how I would do it.
Right.
And that's also critical, is I believe in teaching people how I do it. Not the way they do it, not that they were taught somewhere else, but this is the way I do it. That's why I do like to recruit people without any knowledge, because then you can mold them into mini-me's.
Huh. That's powerful.
That
That's
is very
powerful.
powerful, because people are always looking for superstars. And, oh, if I just had a superstar salesman, if I had a superstar service manager, if I had a superstar technician. My dad said, if he was a superstar, he'd have his own company. I remember him saying that when I was young, about 25. I said, man, I can't find anybody as good as me, Dad. He goes, right. If he is, he's got his own business.
Exactly.
So I got away from the concept of superstars. I never recruited people from well, I would take technicians, but it's also part of exit strategy in creating that environment.
What you mean by that environment?
When people came to my company, okay, this is a horrible story. So
Let's know.
I had about, let's say, 20 people working for me out in the field. Let's say AC guys.
Okay.
Okay. I'd hire a new guy, and the first thing I do was hand him the broom. Like, can you sweep the warehouse? And everybody would watch, because they knew they all had to do it. And I would watch the attitude, like back with the circus guy,
Right.
with the wheelbarrow. What was his attitude? And if he did a really good job, I said, good. If he said, I ain't doing that, I'm an AC guy, or something like that, perfect. A lot of people walk in and they see my guys are all clean, they're all shaven, they're all professional, they all get to work, they don't get high.
Right.
I call it the schoolboy syndrome. Oh, another story. I got so many of these, I'm sorry.
We love
I
them.
feel
We
bad.
love them. We love them. Keep them
Okay.
coming. We love
I
them.
call it the schoolboy syndrome. You could take a really bad kid, and he goes to a new school. Let's go to School Memorial or someplace. Like, okay, these kids all got cars and stuff. And hubcaps on the cars or something.
Yeah.
So he steps into the classroom, and all these kids are busy writing. The teacher's got her back to the wall, writing on the board, and everybody's paying attention. He's going to sit down there. He's going to evaluate. You take a kid from that school, a good kid, put him in a bad school where the teacher's going, shut up, sit down, everybody sit down, they're running around, they're ignoring him. Give him a week, he'll be one of those kids. So by creating that environment with the rest of your employees where they walk in, they go, man, everybody's like, no one's looking at their phones, and nobody's doing this, and everybody's happy, and it becomes contagious.
Right.
So you can have two types of contagious. You can have the kid that becomes great, or you can take a great kid and make them bad. And it's same with employees and everything.
No, for sure.
Everything.
For sure. So when someone's coming in to create this exit strategy lifestyle, because just by the name, I'm assuming that this is the strategy that I'm putting together in case I want to sell my business, right?
Correct, but it's also developing a lifestyle, what I call not being the most important person in the room. Because exit strategy means you don't have to be there for things to run.
That's the life.
That's the life.
Right.
Now, the big problem is, and I'll tell you about one of my clients, I took him from making $300,000 a year to $1 million a year in about a year and a half. We just got lucky. We worked hard. He was, listened. All the stars fell and everything worked out. Well, he started getting confident. Well, I got the exit strategy figured out. I don't have to go to the job sites. I don't have to do this. I said, man, you got to get out there. You got to get out there. Oh, I want to take my kids to the dentist, or I'm going to cook breakfast for everybody this morning. I'm going, man, you're going to blow it, because I went out to his job sites, and it was like, oh my God. Well, I'm going to call Billy, the supervisor, and get it. And Billy, I haven't seen Billy all day, And so what happens is that people get too confident too quickly. They also buy a lot of toys.
Yeah.
They start doing other things. You start taking your trips too long. You're taking your eye off the ball. I mean, I remember that last Super Bowl when Atlanta was up 25 points.
With Brady.
And the owner was down on the field, and they were drinking champagne, and they were all ready. And Brady goes, okay, now that you all relax and you don't think I got this, I'm going to pound you to death. So he is back on the swing. He's making about $70,000 a month now. Okay. Is about what we're up to.
And what was some things that he had to implement in order to get back in the game?
Get back in the game, start all over. He had to start all over.
That brings me to this question. When I'm creating this exit strategy lifestyle, I'm adding people on my team. Of course, they're not going to be as great as me, but am I creating systems and teaching the manager that then teaches the employees that make it all work?
Well,
How am
the
I making
first
sure it
thing is to
works?
create your system.
Okay.
You are the guy,
Okay.
person,
Yeah.
whatever. I call everybody guy.
We
you
know it.
I call everybody guy. You got to remember, I'm old school, Everybody's a guy, So you first have to do it yourself, figure out the best efficient way of doing it, and then delegate it to someone and let them learn, but not teach them. You teach them, but you allow them to make mistakes. And I'll give you an example about mistakes. So I had a chief operations officer, a young man. He's worked for me almost 18 years. And let's say in year 12, he came in with an idea. He was all excited. I got this great idea. Now, I tried this idea already, and it didn't work. It was a bomb. But he had so much enthusiasm on it. I gave him the money. It cost like 15, 20 grand to do this idea. It collapsed. He was feeling terrible. I said, no, I knew it was going to work, but I wanted you to not be shot down by coming into my office and going, listen, we already did that.
Right.
Because you say that to someone, they're not going to come in with another idea.
Right.
So I was willing to let him lose to keep his confidence to keep coming into me.
Right.
So that's real important. You don't want to beat a dog too hard.
Right.
Because then you're going to break their spirit. That's why most people don't realize how smart employees are. It's amazing. People are so much smarter than people give credit for, except they've learned not to be smart. The boss says, do it this way, I'm going to do it this way. I mean, you're not allowing them, I don't know the best way to put this. You're not allowing them to grow, to blossom. They're so used to all the bosses crushing their spirit,
right,
that they just put their head down, they don't care, they don't feel that you care about them, they don't care about anything, they just want that. And if you can get that light, blowing those ambers, and blowing those ambers, and get them to realize that, you're the real deal, and, you're the real deal, and you allow them, it's a fine combination of teaching and letting people learn on their own.
right.
And boy, I'm giving away all my coaching tricks. You might not need me.
I would still need you for sure.
But I'll tell you a story. Here's just another story about that. So I had a problem with people, my staff. Now I probably had about, let's say, 15 people working for me. Let's say 4 or 5 people in the office, and they would call me with the exact same problem that was 6 months ago. Over and over the same problem. I said, what am I going to do? And I remember Charles Barkley used to wear a rubber band when he played basketball. I don't know if you remember that, but he always wore a rubber band. I forgot the reason for it. But at the same time, people were wearing "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets,
right,
which I thought was hysterical. They're shooting the bird with the Jesus thing on their wrist, Whoever came up with that one had a good sense of humor, because people forgot they were wearing it real quickly. A little cross around your neck, well, that's why it's buried in there.
Right.
So I made everybody get a rubber band. And I said, listen, when you have a problem, you all listen to me give you the answer to the problem. So next time we have the problem, I want you to discuss it among yourselves, how you think Ed, Hefe, would solve this problem. Then I want you to call me and give me your opinion of how the group thinks I would solve it. Then I would critique you, just a little bit.
Teaching them how to think for
right,
themselves.
Exactly. You're teaching people how to think like you, because
right,
they've already had the problem 2-3 times. They know how to solve it.
Right.
But do you think I should send someone over there to clean up the water that the guy did? It's like, of course, but they don't want to take the initiative.
Right.
You move the initiative from people. So when they learn what you want, you don't have to, and then they would call you with the same thing. Well, how would you do it? And they tell me, don't you ever have to call me again with this problem.
Exactly.
I trust you.
Right.
And sometimes they would mess up, but okay, let's critique it. So that's the thing. You teach them to think like you.
But see, I think that's the thing with a lot of business owners where you said that trust factor, but how am I able to create the trust factor but still make sure my exit strategy is still going, because ideally I'm not looking to be there. So.
Right, well, it takes 3 to 5 years. You can't have an employee with you under 3 to 5 years to trust them.
Okay.
The problem is, like with this man I told you about, we were like a year and a half into this, 2 years, and he's feeling like, I've got this superintendent, he's on the job for 3 months, he knows what he's doing. I said, no. He has to be with you 3 to 4 years, 5 years. Your whole team has to be with you that long, because then it's a team. These people all work together, and you could trust this guy, because people, and one reason I was very successful is I was very consistent. People trusted me that no matter what, Ed would take care of it.
Right.
So what happens is that these people might be great, and then they might be offered another job, or they got pissed about something, and then they had to pick up their kid because the wife, whatever their stories are, and then they start neglecting you.
Right.
People come in, everybody is like dating. The first 5 or 6 dates, everything's great, and then you realize, like, this girl's got some bad habits, So a lot of times it takes you a while to realize what you really have and to trust the person. So the problem is that people want to go from point A to point, let's say, Q in exit strategy, where these people are not, I don't want to use the word not trustworthy, that sounds evil, but we are evil, so we'll just say.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's true. You can't trust anybody working for you until they've been with you 3 to 5 years. And everybody has to be that way, because then you have a team. Everybody knows this, and then you start getting that flow going.
Right.
And then, you just get that flow and that rhythm, and then you're the Patriots. You just march down the field all the time because everybody knows.
Then I can exit.
It's an exit, exactly.
Now I've created
Everybody
the exit.
knows. Everybody knows.
Right.
Everybody knows their job. Everybody knows what needs to be done. The coach knows the potential of each player, of what they're good at and what they're not good at. You're not putting in anybody. And the problem is also people like to promote into incompetency. Just because a girl's a great leasing agent, then you make her the manager, and she's a terrible manager, and you just took your best salesman and turned him into a sales manager.
Yeah.
That's very popular.
Yeah.
Well, you got this dog that can hunt and make money. Oh, he's so good at selling, I'm going to make a sales manager out of him. And the point is, he's not a manager, he's a salesman.
Right.
So that's another part of knowing your people, knowing what they're capable of, and putting people in that. And that's where a coach comes in, because he helps you evaluate this constantly.
Exactly.
Because it's so hard to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's just from my own experience. I had coaches come in, they go, Ed, and a lot of times it's sort of like a personal trainer. A lot of times, let's say you're doing curls, and you see guys doing curls like this, right? And the personal trainer puts his 2 fingers on your back and says, don't rock your back.
Right.
And all of a sudden the guy went from using 70-pounders to 25, because now it's like, oh man, keep your elbows in.
Right.
Keep your elbows in. And you see guys going like this, and it looks like they're losing a lot of weight, and they're not getting anywhere. And he goes, okay, keep your elbows in, don't move them, and just do negatives. And that's heavy.
Yeah.
But it's right.
Exactly.
But if I'm not watching you, you can't watch yourself doing it.
Exactly.
It just is so difficult.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where coaching comes in, and someone that is, and the problem also, there's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of everything's out there, that people don't know what they're doing. Right. I mean, it's like, my question is, what kind of business experience you have? I mean, it's like a dentist or any field. How much experience you have? Show me some of your work. Let me talk to some of your people. How financially successful you are, and what is your lifestyle equal your success?
Right.
Now listen, I can go down to Hobby Airport and stand in front of a jet
Take a picture.
And make believe I'm climbing in. I can go down to the Rolls Royce dealership and take some pictures in that.
Right.
And then you Google the guy's address. It's in, some apartment complex downtown.
Right.
So you really have to do your homework on the people. I'm astounded on some of the stuff on LinkedIn. Where guys are holding up money or people posting dancing dogs, or they're quoting Abraham Lincoln or the Bible. Okay, do you really care that someone can cut and paste a quote from the Bible that's going to coach you? No, what does that have to do with it? Anybody can cut and paste. What kind of, what type of experiences are they showing you? What are they doing besides holding up money,
right.
Got the babes, got the jet, okay, they're showing you the lifestyle. And everybody loves that on LinkedIn and Instagram. That sells more.
Right.
I posted a picture of one of my clients who made his first $1 million in California, sitting on top of a really nice sports car. I got 1,000 likes on that. I post an educational video, I get 300. I get 300 views. People look at the car. What does the car have to do with it?
No.
But people are that way. So you've got to be careful of the glitter. You've got to be careful of the glitter, because everybody wants the glitter, but they don't realize there's no knowledge. There's no proof in that. They're just showing you the end game.
Right.
And that might not even be the end game.
Exactly.
I could ask that kid to sit on that car for me out in the street, man. Hey, man, can I take a picture of you in that car? Sure. Oh, this is my client.
Right. It's funny, man. It's funny how we can manipulate things and make it seem like what it's not. So having that background, that story, and that's why I'm so excited for us to be doing just this episode in general, for someone to see actually that boots on the ground experience and knowledge paves the way. So this was really, really, really great, and I'm so happy that you were able to make it.
Oh, you're one of my favorite, man.
I'm so happy you're making it. So go ahead and let us know, where can we find you if we want to book your services or just learn more about you in general?
Well, my website, innovatingwithed.com. Edward Hoffman is my LinkedIn, and that's probably all you need.
Yeah, that's all we need. That's
all you need.
We got an audience that plays around on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. What is it? You tell me my Instagram.
Innovating with Ed is on Instagram.
Right, Innovating with Ed. I do some posts there. I'm doing my own LinkedIn, and I do diversity there. Sometimes I do my own quotes. I do my
No
own,
copy and paste.
What?
No copy and paste.
No
right?
copy. I don't do copy and paste. Matter of fact, I just came up with another one. There's people, but I come up with my own quotes. So when you're looking at someone and you're shopping for anything, you look at the originality of their content. How original? Because if you want someone, anybody could play a proven song.
Right.
But original music, how does that sound?
Exactly. No, drops mic, literally.
Right. Right.
But no, like I said, this is really great, and we'll catch you guys on our next episode. So
I want to vouch for this woman here. She's amazing. She is. Someday she should do her own podcast about her own life and her own experience, because her story is greater than mine. And if you're looking at two people here that are rag to riches story, and if anybody out there goes, my dad left me when I was 21, or I'm divorced, or my kids don't love me. Everybody's been divorced. Everybody's dad kicked them in the ass. I mean, if you didn't, you might not have had dad to kick you in the ass,
Yeah.
But my point is, we all can say victim stuff, but we're two people here that don't believe in that. Don't believe in that. Everything in your past made me, made you who you are today.
Definitely.
And now we got to cultivate that and build it and create an irresistible person.
Definitely. And I think on that note, that's going to be it. But again, thank you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.